The world's biggest YouTuber has hundreds of millions of people waiting for her every single day. And the one place she keeps coming back to is your little bookstore. You don't know her name, you don't know she's famous, and in a few months you're going to marry her. But before any of that happens, there's one thing you need to understand. She didn't come to your bookstore for a book. She comes in every Wednesday, 20 minutes before you close. A baseball cap, simple clothes, cash, one book. She never stays long and she never asks for anything. So you start choosing books for her, just to see if she'll come back for them. She always does, and she's read everyone, and she always has something to say that you hadn't thought of. Some nights she stays past closing without either of you quite deciding she will, and you talk in the low light about books first, then about smaller and truer things. She listens completely, the way almost nobody does anymore. She likes the shelves nobody else touches, and rain, and the smell of the old paperback stacked by the window. Over a few months, she stops being a stranger. You start looking forward to Wednesdays more than you'd admit to anyone. You still don't know her name. Then one Wednesday, a teenager walks in, sees her, and freezes. He whispers a name you've never heard, like he isn't sure he's allowed to say it out loud. She smiles, lifts one finger to her lips, and slips out the back door. And that night, for the first time, you search the name he said. Hundreds of millions of subscribers, billions of views, the most watched creator on earth, glowing on the screen in your dark, closed shop. And all at once it makes sense. The cap, the cash, the back door, the way she never lingered. You're certain she'll never come back. People like that don't return to the one place that finally knows their face. But the next Wednesday, 20 minutes before close, the bell rings. Same cap, same smile, one book. You finally ask why she keeps coming to a shop like yours. She looks at the window for a long moment. Then she says, "Because this is the only place where nobody looks at me like they already know me." What you didn't understand yet was that she'd chosen your bookstore for another reason too. She trusted you. So you stop pretending she's only a customer, and the first time you go out together in daylight, it takes 9 minutes. You're picking peaches at a market when a stranger gasps her name, and then there are phones. And then more phones, and the quiet morning folds up and disappears. She holds your hand through all of it and never stops smiling. Later in the car, she apologizes. You tell her she has nothing to be sorry for. She looks at you for a long moment. "You're really okay with this?" she asks. You say yes. But something is settling in you even as you say it. That loving her means accepting the world will always be standing just outside the relationship, waiting for a gap in the door. And somewhere in that car, you decided you didn't care. The door was yours to hold. Dinner out was never just dinner either. Someone always appeared at the table mid-sentence, phone already up, and she was gracious every single time. So gracious that almost no one ever saw how tired it made her. You start to learn how her life actually runs. Several phones, one for the face the world loves, and the rest for the machine that keeps it standing. Managers shaping her week by the hour. Every ordinary moment sitting one notification away from becoming content. Then someone photographs the two of you, and by morning the picture is everywhere. Underneath it, the same 3 words over and over. Who is he? Her fans go looking, and they're good at it. Within a week they've found the bookstore. Strangers start coming in who don't want books. One asks for a photo while you're at the register. Another tells you warmly that they know everything about your relationship, and then repeats things you've never said, because none of them are true, and you finally understand what she has been standing between you and this entire time. That week her manager calls with an idea. The audience would love to see a little more of the two of you, he says. Just a glimpse. It's good for everyone. You expect her to at least consider it. She doesn't. "No," she says. And then, before he can push, 4 words that end it. He's not content. Because that was the thing that made you different, though you never once planned it. You never asked to be in a video. You never asked for a photo, a follower, a look at the studio the whole world was desperate to see. You'd fallen for the woman who read on your floor in a baseball cap, and the creator 200 million people followed simply wasn't the part you wanted. Somewhere in those months she told you her real name, the plain one her family used, the one that appeared nowhere online. 200 million people knew her by a name that wasn't even hers. You were one of the only people who knew the woman underneath it, and away from the machine, in the closed shop, on the empty streets after midnight, she was just herself. She read aloud badly on purpose to make you laugh. She argued a book's ending until 2 in the morning. She fell asleep against your shoulder with a paperback open on her chest, and in those hours no one on earth was watching her at all. She'd steal the book right out of your hands when she thought you weren't looking, and you'd let her. One night she said it quietly, almost like a confession. "Sometimes I don't know where I end and she begins." And that was when you understood this had never really been about fame. The signs were small. She'd lift her phone to film a sunset before remembering she was allowed to just watch it. She'd catch the shape of a good story inside a bad day. She'd glance at a number without meaning to, a reflex years deep. She'd narrate her own day in her head like a voiceover, feel a moment happening, and reach, out of habit, for the version of it worth posting. She had spent so long being the person millions expected that she had half forgotten the one underneath. Then one night, in the dark of the shop, she asked the question, sitting under all of it. "If I stopped uploading tomorrow," she said, "would anyone still wait for me?" You didn't give a speech. You said, "I would." That was all, and you let the silence do the rest. She held on to your sleeve, and after a while she said it, almost to herself. "Then I think I know what I want." She didn't tell you what she wanted that night, and over the next few weeks you started noticing something strange. She began turning down things she'd never turned down before. Interviews, brand trips, a documentary about her whole life. You finally asked her why. She looked at you and said, "Because I'm trying to find out what my life looks like when nobody is watching." It was a small, private ceremony. No live stream, no sponsors, no cameras. Just the people closest to you, gathered in one quiet room. That morning, before you walked down the aisle, she took your hand. "I promise you something." You looked at her. "I won't turn us into content. No videos, no interviews, no headlines. Whatever happens after today, this marriage stays ours." You smiled. She squeezed your hand. You believed her. It was the easiest promise to trust she'd ever made. And for one whole day, the most watched woman on earth performed for no one. She looked, for the first time since you'd met her, like a woman nobody was waiting on. The internet found out days later and couldn't believe no one had known. By then, it was already an old, quiet fact that belonged only to the people who had been in the room. Weeks later, she told you she was uploading something. You asked what? "The first video I've ever made that isn't for them," she said. It was simple. No music, no intro, no edit. Just her face, and the truth, that she had finally found one place where she didn't have to perform, and one person who had never once needed her to. She uploaded it, put the phone face down on the table, and didn't pick it up again. It became the most watched video of her career. She never checked the number. That was the whole point. Years passed, and the shop grew. A second room, then a small cafe in the corner where the poetry used to squeak underfoot. Children read on the floor now. She still makes videos, but now she chooses when and why. One afternoon, you found her stopped halfway through an edit, the cursor blinking. A good video half built on the screen. She looked at it for a moment. Then she closed the laptop and asked, "Want to go for a walk?" You said yes. The upload could wait. It always could. Life was the part that couldn't.